He is truly so worthy to our Ustream and YouTube group. We praise God for you. We pray that we've been a blessing to you and an encouragement to your heart. But most of all, we pray that we have been in some way an instrument used by God to help you have a closer relationship with Christ. And if you're looking for a church home in Philadelphia to visit, you're always welcome to come over here to the Erie Avenue Baptist Church, where everybody is somebody. Christ is the head. Come on over here where the table is spread and the feast of the Lord is going on. 540 West Erie, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. May God continue to smile upon you. May His countenance fall on you and keep you through all your days. Amen. Amen. If you have your Bible, if you don't mind, I want you to go back to the book of Acts, the 16th chapter. The book of Acts, the 16th chapter. The Lord just would not allow me to leave here. Find your way to the 22nd verse. In that 22nd verse, it reads thus: Then the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrate tore off their clothes and commanded them to be beaten with rods. And when they had laid many stripes on them, they threw them into prison and commanded the jailer to keep them securely. Having received such a charge, he put them in the inner prison and fastened their feet in the stocks. We thank God for His blessed word and pray that He bless the hearers thereof. If I was to use something today, I will simply talk about suffering for Christ. Amen. Suffering for Christ. When I consider everything that we see going on, chaos in the world, chaos in families, chaos all around us, I couldn't help but to consider the suffering of the people. When we look at it and we hear people talking about Black Lives Matter, there's nobody more pro-black than me. But I believe that we need to look at the fact that every life matters. Yes. And understand that Jesus came that all of us might have life and have it more abundantly. When I consider our God says that He loves everyone. And so, looking at it from God's perspective, God's desire is for us to love everyone. I know that's true because He told us that we ought to love even our enemies. We ought to love those that spitefully misuse us. We ought to love those that trespass against us. We all are told to love those that abuse us and misuse us. And so just saying that, God has told us that because God is love and He resides in us, that we too must exemplify love. Now I don't know how anybody else feels, but when I see us killing each other, one of the messages we always try to get out is so often the people focus on the family of the victim. But Minister Soul will tell you, when I'm out there speaking, I often tell them, Sister Holland, that the family of the victim is not the only persons that need some compassion and need some love. Because the family of the perpetrator now have to also deal with some loss. The family of the perpetrator, they have lost someone, and not only that, but they have to deal with the words and the dislike and the disdain that is given to them as being a family for somebody who made a decision that they had nothing to do with. And we also have to consider, and that's what we do, we have to consider those that saw whatever take place, because they are traumatized. From the young to the old, if you, I don't know if you've ever seen someone shot, but it does something to you. And so we have to also consider them. And so we're living in a time where we have to alter mindsets to look at everybody in the same perspective. And that is the perspective that God looks at. And because at the end of the day, we can't judge nobody. We realize that we serve a God that is sovereign. If you're looking at the Sunday school lesson for the next quarter is going to deal with the sovereignty of God. If you look at the Sunday school lesson for this morning, it talked about looking at it from two different perspectives. How the godly look at God and how the ungodly look at God. Whether you look at God as somebody that can do the impossible, or you look at God in a fearful way, that He's a God of punishment. I don't know about you, but you know, I believe that as children of God, we ought to fear God as we fear a loving parent. Somebody know what I said, because he said fear is the beginning of all knowledge. And he said he don't want us to fear nobody but him. And I know that we've had discussions even in men's fellowship when I say I don't do certain things because I fear that what God will do to me in the midst of what I'm doing if it's not in Him, because I've been called by Him. Somebody said, well, God don't want us to fear Him. And I said, no, God loves me so much that He told me in His Word. I just don't want God to take His hand off me. I don't want to do something that's going to make God. I suffer enough. I don't need no more suffering. But our world is suffering. But I came to share with you some good news today. That suffering don't last always. And as I looked at it, God spoke to my heart. I looked at my Lord and Savior. When I considered this text, I looked at my Lord and Savior, and I looked at how the different people that God uses tools to reach other people all endured some suffering. I looked at how Jesus Himself, who is God, endured some suffering. He endured some shame. He did all that for us. I don't know if we could have endured what Jesus endured. Jesus went through some stuff. He went through some ridicule. He went through some abuse. He went through some misuse. Yes, he was. He was talked about. He was criticized. He was called everything but the Son of God. Yes, Jesus went through some stuff. And even in some of His darkest moments, Jesus had to go through some stuff by Himself. Y'all know the story. Y'all know what happened in the garden. That time that sin weighed the most on Him. Where it said that even as He lay prostrate, he sweated blood. Because he considered his sin and he asked God. So it's all right to ask God, Lord, can you remove this thing? Because even Jesus in that hour, He said, Father, if it be possible, can you remove this cup from me? And so Jesus endured some stuff. Jesus suffered in that moment. And even in that moment, those around Him that He asked to pray for Him, they could not even stay awake. But that was all right because Jesus is Jesus. And then I considered how even after that, how they took Jesus and how He endured the 6 trials. And can you imagine, your beard being pulled out of your flesh? Can you imagine being stripped down and beat with leather that had metal on the end of it? And every time they struck you, that your skin opened up, and it said opened up all the way down to the bone. I don't know that. That's some serious suffering. But He did it for us. He did it so that you and I might be able to endure whatever suffering that we go through. And so I looked at Him because of the beating, because there was only one other person that was beat with 39 stripes. Y'all know they say 40 minus one. And that was Brother Paul. And I was looking at it, and I was considering what was going on. Now, last week we talked about how they prayed and praised their way through. Amen. But here I get a contrast, because here we're looking at the actual incident that Paul talks about in 2 Corinthians 11 and 25, when he talks about being shipwrecked, and he talked about being beaten, and he talked about being in prison. You see, we don't read about the shipwreck, because the shipwreck happened after the letter of Acts was written. But he talks about all that he endured. He talks about the shame. He talks about how his own countrymen turned. Paul went through some stuff. And even here, as him and Barnabas, went about their business, carrying out the task that God has handed to them. It says that even when they got there, they put this girl up. They put a girl up. Said the girl was full of spirit. She was possessed. And that's why I say you got to be careful. Remember, even Jesus said you got to be mindful, because you might be entertaining wolf and sheep clothing. And it said that as they did it, this young lady, she ran after them, talking about God, who is the Most High. And it says in the Word, it says that Paul became bothered. It said it bothered him, and he was constrained on the inside that he had to stop and turn to it, and told the spirit to leave her. Then after he did that, you see some mumbling going on. Throughout these last few chapters, we see them going from town to town. We see them escaping. We see them being beat. We see them being imprisoned, and see them escape again, and they go through that same. But here now you got Jews and Gentiles alike desiring to see harm come to Paul and Barnabas. And they started speaking out, to the point where the magistrates had them gather Paul and Barnabas up. Paul and Silas up. I said Barnabas earlier, Paul and Silas up. And the Bible says that they took them and they ripped their clothes off. And they beat them with rods. Now it wasn't like they beat them with a rod. Y'all got to understand, in their time, if you do the research, you find that they will bundle some rods up, and they will beat them with a bundle of rods. But Paul endured this for the gospel. Well, what am I saying? I'm saying that you and I, we're going to go through some stuff. You and I, we're going to have some suffering. But he said, blessed are they who are persecuted for my sake. He said, blessed are they who suffer for me. I mean, throughout the Word of God, he gives us encouragement that we're going to go through. Jesus never told us, unlike some TV evangelists would have you believe that your life is going to be peaches and cream if you just come to Jesus. But Jesus told us that when you come to me, there's going to be some trials, there's going to be some tribulations, you're going to go through some stuff. And I looked at Mother, how the people who are earnestly trying to live their life with Christ is going through some stuff. Y'all know what I say. When I talk to folks, I say I look at what God is doing. You see, what the devil means for bad, God means for the good. So I said, in the midst of it all, Mother, you've heard me say that no matter how much we're weighed down, no matter how much affliction tried to overtake us, no matter how much sickness tried to grab us and weigh us down, no matter how bad the problems are or the troubles seem to be, that God has a bigger plan. I often say I say I got a big blessing on the way. I want you to know, in the midst of your affliction, in the midst of what you're going through, you got to know that God has a blessing just for you. It's not what you endure, but it's how you endure. You see, I believe in so that he gives us the strength to do the things that he would have us to do. When you can't talk, He allows you to speak. When you can't see, He even allows you to sit. God does some stuff. You ever been to a place where you got up and it seemed like you just couldn't get out of bed? I ain't talking about being tired, but I'm saying that your legs just don't work. Anybody know what I'm talking about? When you got to pick a leg up, then pick the other leg up, and then get some help to get up. Anybody know what I'm talking about? So if y'all don't, I pray that you never have to, but then you get in your car, mother, and you got to sit on the side. Put your one leg in the car at a time. Some of y'all won't know what I'm talking about. But see, if you ever get some arthritis, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you have to deal with some sciatica, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you have to deal with some fibromyalgia, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you deal with that big arthur called rheumatoid arthritis, y'all understand what I'm talking about. And so when the things start taking a hold of you, then other things come compounding that. You know, some people say, well, what did you do wrong? I ain't did nothing wrong. I did something. You guys got to tell them, I did something right. And this is a trick of the enemy. But see, in the midst of this all, God still allows us to do the things that He wants us to do. God still allows us to be a voice and crying in the wilderness, telling somebody that your miracle is on the way. Telling somebody that they need to get their life together so that they can have a relationship with Christ. Telling somebody that trouble don't last always. I often tell folk, I told some folk this week, I said, you talk on the phone, they don't know you, then you see them personally. I said, see, this is what I like about my Jesus. I said, see, y'all, if you don't know me, those that know me, close, and they say, well, how you? I said, I'm bathing in grace. See, you got to know for yourself when you bathing in grace. I said, because if I don't tell nobody, I said, if I don't tell nobody that I'm sick, no one will never know. That's just how God's grace is. He covers you up. And He allows you to illuminate. Even when you look at yourself and feel that you're bad. You're going through some stuff right now, but I need you to know that you're not going through this by yourself. Every now and then you got to step into your war room. Step into your secret place and have a little talk with Jesus. Every now and then, in the midst of your trouble, y'all know it get hard for us to hum sometimes. Mr. Sowell know he had to deal with it a couple of weeks ago when you can't hum because you start humming and you start singing and the coughs start coming. But every now and then, see, when you can't hum and you can't sing a tune, I'm so glad that He hears the whisper of our heart. I just want you to know that even if you don't say a word, God knows all about it. I just want you to know, even before you can ask Him anything, He already knows. And so all we're doing, asking Him is, Lord, can you just confirm your word? Lord, can you give me a little bit of comfort? Anybody looking for some comfort today? Lord, I'm going through some stuff. Can you give me a peace of mind? I can hear Him saying, well, this is all you got to do. Just stay focused on me because I will keep the mind in perfect peace that is stayed on me. Don't worry about what you're going through. See, because the devil have a desire to sift you like wheat. But I am stronger than him. And when you are weak, then I become strong. And so just hold on. And know that I'm hiding you in the pavilion. I don't know. It's just good news to know that even when you suffer for Christ, you're never suffering by yourself. Amen. Have you ever been in a place where you feel like you're by yourself? Amen. You know your spouse loves you. You know your children love you. You know your siblings. You got people around you, but you still feel like you're all alone. And it's not about others, but it's about, Lord, I need renewed strength. Well, Mother, I'm so glad that He told me and He told you and He told you. He said, they that wait upon the Lord, He shall renew their strength. Mount them up with wings as an eagle, that they might run and not get weary. Walk I mean, there's encouragement in the Word of God. When I read this text and I looked at everything that he did, and everything he went through, I'm like, he was despised by his own countrymen. Y'all remember? Paul had to say, don't y'all know who I am? Do you not remember that I too am wrong? Y'all can't even deal with me the same way y'all deal with everybody. You need to know that the enemy cannot deal with you the same way that he deals with everybody else. You a child of God. You got to know that your miracle's on the way. Y'all believe me? I just believe it. I believe it. That's why we're out of pockets, you know, because the reality is, he said that he's going to pour out a blessing. Just think about that. Not blessing, but he's going to pour out a blessing that you shall not. Lord, you're going to do what? See, you got to know that when you're going through, at some point you sit back. Somebody told me, but I already knew about it. I already told you. They said your season is about to come. I said, I received it. You know why? Because I believe that when the more that you go through, the more God is going to bless you because of your stance for Him. I'm telling you, just stand. Don't get weary for your well-doing. This is what you got to know. This is what you got to know. And I ain't that smart. I don't need to tell you what the Word says. All sickness is not unto death. Oh, I got some Bible readers in the house. You got to know that even in the midst of your sickness, that God is going to still keep you. Look at what He has done through them. That it went through varied levels of suffering. Whether it was sickness, whether it was imprisonment. Look at the 3 Hebrew boys. What did they try to do to them? They tried to burn them up. They went in the furnace and had a party. Oh, if you don't mind, Mother, I think they did like Paul and Silas did in the 25th, the 26th through the 30th verse. And they had a party. I think they got in the furnace. They started praising God. They started praying to God. And they were mindful that even when the enemy was talking about what they were going to do to them, they said, if it is your desire to do that, my God, who is above all gods, if His desire is for us to live, we're going to live. If His desire for us to die, we're going to die. Amen. What I'm saying? Pray and praise your way through. He'll do something. Think of what they did with these guys. After they beat them with they put them in there. Now, I don't know if they were scared about what happened before, but they say that they put them in stocks. Y'all know what stocks is, right? Well, those who don't know what stocks is, they said it's 2 pieces of wood that they put together. They just have a hole in it. And so what they did was they bound their feet with wooden frames so that they could not move. But look at God. Look at God. You see, when God steps into your situation, now He tells you first that He makes your enemy your footstool. He also tells us that these varied battles that we find ourselves in, He said the battle is not ours, but it's His. And so all we need to do is be mindful of that. And then look at this text to know that if God did it for them, He'll do it for us. But not only did he free them, not only did He liberate them, not only did He allow His power to come in and unshackle them. But when you read a little further, it said that after they prayed and they praised, and God came in and He done His thing. He said, look, the jailers, they got fearful because they thought about what would happen to them because of them. And Paul said, hold up, wait a minute, we ain't even went nowhere, we right here. And look what happened. The Word says that them and their households were saved. Amen. Don't you know, depending upon how you stand up in the midst of your suffering, somebody is watching you. And they're looking at you and they're looking at the strength that you're demonstrating. And after a while, they'll even ask you, how are you able to deal with what you deal with and still be the way you are? And you can tell them about Jesus. You can tell them about how he suffered for them. You can tell them because he suffered, you're just trusting him in the midst of your suffering. Yeah. Whether it's trial, whether it's tribulation, whether it's adversity, no matter what the situation or the circumstances, I'm just trusting Jesus. That's all you got to do. I'm trusting Jesus. And don't you know that he'll work it out? He promised us that he'll work it out. Do you remember what Peter wrote back there in 1 Peter 5? When he told you to cast all your cares on him, and then he said, be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, he walk about seeking to devour you. But he said, those that resist and be steadfast after you have suffered a while. 1 Peter 5:10. After you have suffered a while, the God of all grace, he comes in. He settles you. He strengthens you. He makes you perfect. And he settles you. Who wouldn't serve a God like that? Just to know that even in my situation right now, it might seem like you're in a dark situation. I don't know your situation. But you might be in a dark situation. You might be dealing with varied things in your life. It seems like illness might have you. You're like, when is it going to end? I know we all ask them questions. I think in a Sunday school lesson, it talks a little bit about, the why, when you're going to do what you're going to do, Lord. But you just got to trust that in God's time, this too shall pass. Amen. I'm so glad. When I look around, even in this place, I'm looking at miracles. When I look at you and I know the very things that all of y'all are dealing with, I'm looking at miracles. I know, Minnesota, sometimes that leg don't want to work. And yet you do so much. Because God gave you the strength to do everything that you need to do. And you won't stop until you do it. When I look at your mother and all she do, yes, mother, you got to go and you got to lay down after a while. But God gives you that strength to just press. Yes, Sister Addie, yes, y'all got to go and y'all got to get y'all blood changed and all that good stuff. But look, God gave you the ability to press on and be able to sing praises to Him. I'm just saying, I look at miracles from Brother Shelby to Sister Robbins to Brother Jesse to Sister Highland. I just look at miracles, Sister Clem. Sister Clem, I know your eyes was all messed up, but look, God allowed you to do it. If we be honest, I look at Sister Clem, and I know she's a miracle because sometimes she exhibits more energy than us. Amen. I don't see nobody flying around the church. Amen. More than Sister Clem. Amen. I don't know brother so well. She might beat you in a race. But I'm talking about what God can do. Y'all know each other's stories and y'all see what God is doing. Oh, yeah. Some of us, if we honest, and to be honest, we ain't supposed to be here. Amen. Amen. You know, I think the greatest honor we can give God, wait till you told the doctor, when they say one thing, and we can say, but God has the final say. Amen. You know what I'm talking about, Brother Sly. You know, when you look and you realize you're dealing with something and 99% of the people that dealt with that died, and you're part of the 1%. And they say we don't have no resolve. We're still trying to figure things out. And God gives you the ability to just share a word of encouragement to somebody else. Maybe somebody else know what I'm talking about. God said, you know, we might not live X amount of time. The Lord said something different. Amen. I still think about Brother Jack. I remember what I said to that doctor. That doctor came there when he took there. The doctor said, if we don't cut a hole in your neck, you will die in 6 months. And we took with that doctor when he said, we ain't cutting no hole. Whatever God will do. And Jack lived, what, 7, 8 more years after that? See, the doctors don't dictate our lives. we got a doctor that supersedes all doctors. He is the great physician. There is nobody like him. And because he suffered for you, and he suffered for me, all he wants us to do is stand. And he said, and again I say stand. Because one day, all this trouble will be over. One day there won't be no more sickness. One day there won't be no need to cry. Matter of fact, he said he's going to wipe away every tear from our eyes. One day won't be no more dying. I don't know about you, but one day all that we all are going through is all going to be over. And we're going to be perfected in him. We won't have no more pain, no more trials, no more troubles. We ain't got to worry about nothing. I don't know about y'all. I'm looking forward to that day. I want people to know everywhere I go, look, you got two places that you can end up. There's one place that's called hell. Y'all think this summer was hot, but they said that it's 7 times the elements